But in a situation where you find that a person look at the situation,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that.
All right, beginning with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, quite a number of stories. 2023, like I told you, the conversation is getting louder. Now, you see the lead story there on Daily Trust says, Rumpus in APC over zoning as Umahi Kalu joined the race. So, you see the riders there also, Northern aspirants strategize. Ebonyi governor in Villa seeks Buhari's blessing. He says, the ex-Abia governor says, I will tackle Tinubu. That's Kalu. You would see also, Fayemi will speak at appropriate time. That's CPS. All right. Now, the pictorial there shows you that of the national flag flies at half-mast as Shonikan dies at 85. Buhari, IBB, Jonathan, Atiku, mourn. Well, are they the only ones mourning? Certainly
all
not.
of Nigeria.
I guess we have to pick a few. All right, now the next one says, he was head of state at a difficult time. And that's Tinubu. That a colossal loss, says Abiodun. You'll see also below that, revenue loss, Buhari directs Amechi to conclude both contract. That's on page 22. And then at the very top there, you'd see Okada's return to Kano. Kano streets as KK riders strike enters day 2. Well, the next one there on page 37, 2023, mixed reactions trail Kwankwaso's dismissal of zoning. In AFCON, Iheanacho on target as Nigeria defeat Egypt in group opener. You'll find details of that on page 47 for all the sports enthusiasts. And then at the very bottom, you'll find allow BDCs compete for $20 billion forex inflow. AFCON tells CBN. Court remands NSCDC officer over rape of teenager. That's tragic. 10 worshippers killed, others trapped in Delta Church collapse. Yet again, another building collapse.
All right, with that, we'll move on to the Punch newspaper. Right at the top, you'd see a story that says, Workers' Union fear job losses as Standard Chartered closes Nigerian branches. We also have 2,248 megawatts of power stranded monthly in 2021 despite blackouts, and that is coming from Gencos. Subsidy mobilized for protest. NLC directs affiliates CSOs. We also have Buhari, Jonathan, Obasanjo. Governors mourn as ex-ING head Shonikan dies at 85. The lead story there says Buni Malami moved to block convention. Governors rise against interim party chair. And you have the writers here that say 3 governors. Justice Minister push consensus agenda to block Tinubu. Someone is manipulating convention not to hold, says Progressives Governor's Director General. And we also have Malami doesn't hold any position in APC, plays no role, says media aid. And right at the bottom, you find a pictorial there of the Super Eagles, and it says AFCON, Iheanacho's Wonder Skins Pharaohs as Eagles beat Egypt 1-0. And beside it, you'd see a story that says Umahi meets Buhari, declares 2023 presidential ambition. Again, suspected herdsmen strike in Ondo, killing 2 on farm, gun down 3 rescuers. And then jealous Lagos husband stops pregnant wife's admirer to death. These are all the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
All right. Now, from the Punch, we take a look at the blueprint this morning. There, you'd see also the lead story on the blueprint talks about 2023 presidency. Like Tinubu, Umahi meets Buhari, opens up on ambition. The writers there say his president asked me to consult widely. And then we are not bothered. VP still the best. Osimbajo supporters. I'll march Tinubu, others grift. I'll march Tinubu, others greet for greet. Uzo Kalu declares. And then you'd find also below the nameplate there, Nigeria owes Shonikan great debt. And that's according to President Muhammadu Buhari. AFCON 2022, Super Eagles cage Salah. Peep Pharaohs 1-0. That's the details is there on page 31. And that's that for the Blueprint newspaper this morning.
Okay, move on to the Nation newspaper, and we have the lead story here that says convention. Divided APC governors seek Buhari's help. And we have writers here that says PGF meeting shifted, caretaker committee can't be stampeded. And on top there, we have excitement over Tinubu's presidential bid. Coast clear for Lekan Balogun as Olubadan. We also have $130 million contract. Court remands Saipem MD. Others. We also have a story here that says Umahi joins 2023 presidential race. Flags fly as half-mast for ex-head of state Shone Khan. And a writer there that says Buhari, IBB, Obasanjo, governors, Tinubu, others mourn. And right at the bottom you'd find a pictorial of Super Eagles, and with a title that says Eagles soar above Pharaohs in AFCON tie. Details of that story can be found in page 31.
All right, the last paper today we'll be looking at is The Guardian. The lead story there talks about 2023 as well. Well, I don't know. Maybe coincidentally, they now share a very similar lead with the Blueprint newspaper. It says, like Tinubu, Umahi informs Buhari of interest in presidency. So you'd see also the writers suggest political solution to Southeast insecurity, warns Ohaneze to stay off politics. Well, it's an interest group, so how will they stay off? Well, that's for you to answer. Kalu, I will match Tinubu greet for APC presidential ticket. Renews call for postponement of APC national convention. Osimbajo, not threatened by Tinubu's declaration, says support group. National convention, courts may run affairs of APC stakeholders, warn. APC poses no threat to PDP in 2023, Wike boasts. And then you see also the sad story. National flag to fly at half-mast as Nigerians pay tribute to Shonika. At the very bottom, lost opportunities as Eagles begin on winning note, beat Pharaohs 1-0. Below the nameplate, Buhari okays investment trust fund to promote foreign remittances. Bandits kill man, kidnap pregnant wife, children, others in Kaduna. Then the next one, IPOP disowns enforcers of sit-at-home order, condemns shootings in Enugu. Okay. And then the last story there we'll be picking is the one about 15 women, 20 children rescued, 50 others feared trapped as church collapsed in Delta State. So these are the stories on the front pages of our newspaper. Ben Sheman is in the studio, the Director News, Voice of Nigeria. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak.
Good morning.
My pleasure, thanks.
Well, we have a sad story, really, so I would like for you to comment on that, about the late Ernest Shonekan, just a highlight of what we know about his person.
Yes, honestly, Ernest Shonekan, may his soul rest in peace. He came in when Nigeria was at the crossroads. There were too many uncertainties. The political barometer was so hot. You could see people talking of regionalism. People would want to go back to where they originally come from, instead of living where they are, earning some livings. Babangida had to step aside, as you would call it, to save the situation. And of course, June 12 had been annulled. A Yoruba man who indeed was said to have won the election, Chief M.K. Abiola, was shoved aside. And again, another Egba man, Yoruba, brought in. So at a point, the place became divided, even within the Yoruba kingdom. But then Shonekon came in as a stabilizer, interim government. In other words, he was there so that, as it is said in Nigeria, we go shine our eyes. We now plan our own political journey. But the tenure was short-lived. I remember that time I was a crime and defense correspondent. Suddenly I got a call from Colonel Chijoka, Fred Chijoka. I was needed in Dodan Barracks, and two other people, I don't want to call their names, reached there only for us to say, look, stay here. Suddenly, Abacha came. He had overthrown Ashonekon, and we had to record the speech that Abacha gave to the nation, removing the interim government. The situation was so serious, riots here and there, but again, even when kept in the dark, Shonekon was an epitome of unity. He was a unifying force for the country. Therefore, it's not out of place that flags should be flying at half mast for this hero. He was an industrialist who indeed was an economist, and his own economic policies before entering government was pro-Nigeria. I still remember when some people were calling his wife First Lady. He said, no, I am in civil service and I don't want to have anything to do with that office. So it was a kind of a low-key office, but again, they all were committed to one Nigeria. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen. All right, well, on to other stories, political stories. Again, it's been from one declaration to another.
Exactly.
A number of people are now coming out. Umahi, Orji Kalu, also coming out. This is after the leader of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So let's get your reaction, as well.
Yes, my first reaction is they are rushing to the villa, making the villa a kind of a mecca. As if I get the endorsement of the president, I have the endorsement of all Nigerians. Yes, the president is the leader of the party, But again, why don't you just begin to gauge, put the scale of Nigerians, their thinking on your own scale to see whether you are lovable, you are likable, you are a candidate. But again, it's a good thing they are coming up. And when we see, like Umay already telling Ohaneze, look, stay out of politics and all that. Ohaneze is a pressure group. And pressure groups do have some political interests. Everybody who claims to be apolitical, they are always, in most cases, very, 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 very political too, because politics is about sharing of resources, sharing of power, sharing of the economy, and of course, ensuring that everyone is being taken care of. So if you feel that your area needs to have this, so be it. And that brings to mind the issue of this zoning system. We have some people who are saying, look, we don't need to zone the political office as that of president, that of governor. We should look for people of substance, credible people who indeed can deliver the goods. The PDP of those days will call it dividends of democracy. It's like a convention. It's like a deal you sign with the people. put me into power, I give you security, I give you employment, I give you health, I protect your environment. You sleep with your two eyes closed because I am awake. Because the security agents of which I am the C-in-C, the commander-in-chief, I tell them what to do and they do it. So that is it. So we expect this to happen, but we should also be mindful of what we call the mudslinging, name calling, tagging some people. I see that Fayemi of Ekiti State is already saying that even when he was showing some interest, up initio, his interest has not gone down, but that some people, including governors, as he's alleging, are trying to demarket him. In other words, he's not sellable, he's not fit, he's not, and that's why he's challenging them. That is politics, and that is just within one party. We're now talking of the rest. PDP, ABGA, just name it, they all are National Conscience Party, they all are there. And we also pray that we, the members of the fourth estate of the realm, we begin to give these people the even platform, equal ground for them to contest. We have, of course, the elections debates group. I hope they will wake up now. Time has come for them to ensure that by debating we begin to know the stuff candidates are made of. And some people feel the VP too should not be a pushover because he's not incapacitated. The fact that he's quiet and his aides are talking, that also tells you a body language. So when people go to seek the president's endorsement, it is right too that they also visit the vice president so that they say, well, we are told you have some dreams. I'm also a dreamer, so dreamers will meet so that we move together.
All right, and now some Nigerians say that they're tired of recycling of leaders. What's your thought on this? Do you think we're ready for someone new?
Yeah, yes, people talk that, and of course there's even a law, not too young to run, but again, this is capitalism. The young guys, many of them do lack the experience, surely. But again, if you do have a young leader, there's nothing wrong in having technocrats around you, the experts, to give you advice. You are the political head, but they do the civil service work, the economy, you ensure the environment is conducive for investment to flow in. But when you have a situation where people are hungry, of course, politicians who indeed are rich, the older generation, all they do, you now see the bags of rice flying here and there. You see some rappers, how much is one? 500 naira, 200 naira, 1,000 naira. You wrap all of that and you are giving people. And they say, yeah, he gave us rappers, he clothed us when we when we were naked. But again, is that enough for you to sell your conscience? And the politicians too should not just believe in once I'm campaigning, I must go to every nook and cranny, every village, I am there. And you read the book of Lamentation. These people have failed. I am going to be your savior. And we get that you are voted in. Nobody sees you again.
Okay. All right. Well, we've talked about not too young to run. I mean, this campaign that have come, and it has yielded some results by seeing the, bill passed into law. Do you think that we should maybe be considering also something like too old to run? Especially if you look at the caliber of people that, are coming up, to contest for office, and then not much is said about their, physical fitness to be able to take on the responsibility that comes with that office.
Honestly, sometimes it's like a contract. Some people begin to hide some clauses in a contract. Where there are weaknesses or some issues, some liabilities, you hide them to the successor. Politically, too, you find some people who indeed, they might be having some health challenges, but all they do is to use the spin doctors, the aides, who indeed will always say the man or the woman is as sound, as solid as the rock of Gibraltar. And therefore, Nigerians don't get to question their candidates. I said something concerning elections debates. We should be able to question everyone before they indeed become even candidates. Right from their aspiration as aspirants, we should be able to question everything, their education background, their conduct in life, what indeed have been their pedigree in terms of support of their communities, so that helps. But if you say we should single out the old to say, look, don't contest, the Nigerian constitution simply says once you are 30, yes, 30, you can seek for that position of governor or president. So that tells you the rest should simply be that where they said
yes, but the constitution said that once you are 30, but it's people that did that constitution. So
yeah.
I'm sure that can be amended as well to say that look, there's an age limit, for you to contest.
Yeah,
don't you think that that's in the interest of the people?
It is in the interest of the people, but I want to tell you that we should, since it is a multi-party democracy, if you feel somebody is too old in that party, shift to where your interest is protected. Because once they come in, they are always never the same age. So there is the young, the middle, and the aged. They all are competing for one seat. So it's for Nigerians of all ages to also, shift where they think they...
Yes, one will wonder that, in the civil service, for instance, and in other careers, we have retirement age, but one wonders when it comes to politics, we don't have retirement age, right? And so you would think that maybe some of the old people, not that they do not have a role to play, but maybe they should take some backseat and maybe play the role of, giving advice and all of that to the young chaps.
Absolutely, yes, we have that. But in terms of even the tenure of a president, honestly, I want a situation where if people are just not performing, vote them out. Truly. Because if we simply focus on age, you find some very young guys who indeed are also inexperienced. Some have never held the position of a counselor. Some have never even become a classroom teacher. But if you run a shop somewhere and suddenly, okay, you are now Mr. President, His Excellency, you see the inexperience in many things. And that is why if you've done a journey within the civil service to a certain level, you have left that now in the organized private sector, you see that your journey towards life, nationhood, your experience in terms of service delivery will be different. But a situation where somebody will just from nowhere, you've not been working at any point in time, but suddenly you are now a president.
Yeah, but if you put up that argument, this will lead to also other arguments that, okay, now we had the Yakubu Gawans of this world. We have the Ojukus of this world. We have the Buharis of this world who came to presidential offices without any prior such political office or experience like you are talking about now. So what has changed?
Absolutely.
Really?
That is what we call situation creating the leadership. That a situation, I tell you, supposing, God forbid, there's fire outbreak here, you see that somebody somewhere is doing a lot of evacuation without being trained. The situation has warrants that. But there are always very rare occasions in this kind of a thing. But I think that absolutely, if there are some people who can deliver the goods, let it be. And that's why we'll still be talking of experiences. I tell you that sometimes some people go to hospital when they see very young, he's a young doctor, they begin to look at such a doctor with some reservations. Are there no older doctors in this place? I am not saying we should go into gerontocracy, government of the old people. Everyone there belongs to 70 years and above. No, we should be. And that's why if you look at the Supreme Court, these guys are old, and it is expected that at that age, look, you are closer to God. the truth is just your Bible or the Quran. And so we should expect that. But sometimes we also see the youthful exuberance when it comes to I don't want to name names, but you see that there are some people who indeed are in government and they are that young. You see that there's that youthful exuberance that shouldn't just be the thing. Nigeria is where we should be talking of serious issues, the economy, and we're talking of real politicking, we're talking of cohesion, we're talking of reconstruction, cohesion in society. That is just it. And this situation where we are still talking about state of origin, well, we should be talking of state of residence. If you were born in Lagos, who says you shouldn't be contesting in Lagos? Your parents were born in Lagos, you were born there in Lagos, your children there, you're married there, you're working there. But when they say you want to join any of the armed forces, state of origin, you say Kaduna, you now have to go to Kaduna, local government area, you go to Zango Kata, they don't even know you there. You pay your tax to Lagos people. Nowadays, so this kind of segregation should just stop. If America in one family will produce a president, 2 governors, and America is not falling, why shouldn't Nigeria be? When you are appointed, you begin to ask, what religion? Even in the religion, which denomination? Even in the denomination, which society inside that denomination? It doesn't augur well for us. Go to some states today, you see people live according to religions, according to where they come from. It shouldn't be. Those days, see, a Muslim is here, a Christian is next, a Muslim is next, a Christian is next. The children will play together, grow together, and develop Nigeria together. And that's why we're talking of this unity school. Yes, the Gowan you're talking about, when there was this civil war, the man came out and said, look, let us begin to see how we're going to bring cohesion, unity in this country once more. And that was why he created the National Youth Service Corps. You leave Lagos, go to Maiduguri. Maiduguri goes to Calabar. Calabar goes to Sokoto. And we begin to know the cultures. You are encouraged. And that, I saw that the governor of Akwa Ibom is even saying that, look, when you have core members sent to your state, a governor should be able to retain as much as at least 100 every posting, and that brings a kind of unity. The National Sports Festival was also introduced by Gowan to ensure that youths compete, not by fighting, but some friendly competition. And that quite a lot of things Gowan initiated. But you see that people, the present generation, and NYC is outdated. It's not outdated. Friendship can never be outdated.
Okay, now let's move on to yet another story, talking about the APC National Convention. There seems to be a lot of confusion in that camp.
Absolutely, because they also have to be mindful of certain things. If the Constitution says, or INEC is also saying, look, for you to do a convention, you must give us 30 days notice. The date APC is proposing, is it going to reach, the 30 days from today? That is one thing. Then the next thing, what we call the political gladiators, alignments and realignments. If they are no longer birds of the same feathers, they will never flock together. And that's why the president warned in his previous interviews, he said, look, the way PDP was defeated is the way APC could be defeated because of disagreements. They should get their act together. It's not enough for everybody you rush to meet the president to provide the answer. No. The solution in every school is always never with the headmaster alone. There are teachers, there are even students. You also have the head boy, the prefects. They also help in providing solutions. And again, listen to the voice of the opposition. Listen to the voice of those who are critics, and not pull down people, but critics who indeed mean well for the country. So APC, you see that at the point they say, their constitution does not allow for this long kind of a governor who is elected running the party again. He has 2 elected offices. Keyamo brought this matter, and I think that the way they shook him, you can see Keyamo has gone down low. He's not vibrant as he used to be out of government or before the famous judgment that was given in the case of Zamfara or even Sokoto. And even Edo State, so Keyamo came in telling them the wrongs in APC. They said, oh, this guy is performing like a mole. He is in government. He belongs to the party. But his criticisms are pro-PDP. But again, he was pointing at what legal implications there are on ground. If, for example, the party does not allow you to have interim leadership, National Working Committee, and you therefore have it, then you organize a convention. Elections were done to occupy party offices and even gubernatorial candidates, presidential candidates. By the time people go to court and say, look, your constitution says you don't have this. So the law is blind as to this provision. That tells you you can't build something on nothing. Your foundation is built on sand. When the tide comes, it sweeps that sand and the house falls. So it's nice that they get it right so that politically a stable Nigeria, a stable political party, if political parties are stable, Nigeria will be stable. And that's where we're talking of internal democracies within the parties. If the political parties are democratic in their conduct, Nigeria too will be democratic in conduct. If a party A is good in handling its own affairs, party B will copy that. And if we're talking of, how the candidates come by, let's say by consensus. If you say, okay, we all agree, so be it. But if a minority says no, of course they only have their say, the majority will have their way. If they say have elections, but it could be indirect or direct, these are the three ways in which all the political parties will have flag bearers. So if the constitution says let's have this, and all of you begin to muzzle some other people and tell them, threaten them, don't do this, you can't do this, of course, you see people pulling out. And when people pull out, you go to court, they tell you, look, why did you go to court? They said, once there is a conflict or a crisis within a political party, you can pull out. And that was what APC did. Came out from PDP, came out from AGA, came out from other political parties to form APC. And of course, the rest is history.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up the discussion on our newspaper review this morning. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. This is Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital. Taking a look at the dailies on Daybreak, basically having perspectives on the stories that made headlines, basically on the front pages of our newspapers. And we have in the studio Ben Shemang, who is the Director News Voice of Nigeria, in the studio, talking to us about all of this. Now, some other interesting stories, really economical now this time around. The strike action by Keke Napep riders in Kano is the second day already. Yesterday we are seeing that a loss of about 300 million naira was recorded by the Keke Napep operators in one day alone. So going to day two, it means that quite a lot more could be lost, isn't it?
Absolutely, because, and this is where we're talking of gross domestic product. And these are the economic activities that generate funds for the operators and even the Nigerian government. Look at how much was lost for just one day. That loss was for the the operators. Now you look at the taxes, what the state government gets from these operators. They also lost quite a lot yesterday. Now today, these losses will continue. If it continues for a week, you can imagine many banks will be affected surely. Because if you make the money, you go to put it in your own bank. Teachers, students, pupils who indeed are always been ferried via this keke napep, you could see that, of course, there's a problem. But again, the police will say, yes, today we relax because these people are not on the road. Then the hospitals at the point will say, okay, there were not too much of these accidents here and there. So if you look at it, some people will be smiling, some will feel sad. But I tell you that once the economy is injured,
It's difficult.
It's difficult. It's not enough for the police to feel, okay, today we are relaxing because we are not controlling the traffic, we are not doing all of this. But I tell you that quite a lot of activities are affected by this strike, and I think they should resolve it as quickly as possible. Look at that state is the most populous in Nigeria, and when you look at the sea of, let me describe it that way, of these keke napep tricycles, you just believe as if the manufacturing companies in Kano, as if everyone in Kano has one. But again, let us resolve that crisis.
Okay. Now, a lot of states banned Okadas for security reasons, and with this particular strike, we've seen them, come back. They return to the streets. What does that say, on the fight against security or insecurity?
Yeah, like the motorcycle, popularly also called Okada, at the point they engage themselves into what they call stop-by, drive-by shooting. They target some people, and some guys are on the bike, they do the shooting, and the way they meander their way and off they go, and the kind of speed they will always run. And that was why in Kaduna State, Plateau, Benue, Borno, Yobe, they banned some of these things and substituted them with keke napep, this tricycle. And of course, it was to bring some little sanity. The speed in which tricycle runs is not the same thing with that of the motorcycle. Today, if you look at where there are kidnap cases, those who look for ransom will first of all say, bring a motorcycle to start with, because they know the role of motorcycles. And that's why the security agencies are also imbibing this use of motorcycles. They're now mounting some guns up there to enter some of these bushes to pursue these criminals. So yes, in terms of keke napep or tricycle, you could see that they have some covers. When rain comes, you are protected. But it was also realized that some people could be two in one. In there, they are busy robbing some people one would not know. So at the point when that was reported to some governors, and they were stopped. And today we're talking of they are formally registered. You must have a number, and they have some units with leadership, so that you have to register to belong to that area. If you don't have anything to do with that area, you don't ply or enter those areas. They have lines of demarcation, lines of operation, and that brings some kinds of sanity.
All right. Well, finally, let's look at this issue of power. We're hearing from the federal government that over 2,000 megawatts of electricity, is kind of stranded, not taken by the DISCOs. So you have GENCOs, producing much more, and then we have the rest of it wasted because DISCOs are not, taking. What's exactly are we dealing with here, and how can we come off it?
And to add that just yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a destruction of 504 megawatts of electricity in one of these states. Now, if you look at when government decided to unbundle, it used to be NEPA, National Electricity Power Authority. Now say, let's break these companies. Its own job is just to generate this power, generate, and put in a pool. Then that's the generating company. Then the distribution would take that via the cables, the electricity wires you see all over the place. Now, when you now distribute into houses, offices, industries, the street lights and all that stuff, that is where you begin to have some problems. The generating companies are losing. They generate so much, but it's like what they have generated has some lifespan. Instead of the distribution company to grab this and sell to people, houses are still without electricity. Generating companies are saying, look, we have this. It's like you brought in perishable items, mangoes, vegetables, carrots, oranges. They all are, look, the trailers are here, but people are refusing to, retailers are refusing to come carry, go sell into small markets. So the heat and everything will make them get rotten. And that is where government should come in.
Is this the problem of infrastructure? And
yes,
why are we not seeing improvement in this?
Honestly, if the generating companies are saying we generate so much, and these people are refusing to because when you go to pick that, you have to pay. So the little they just pick and pay, they now sell it to all of us at a very high price, which is not supposed to be. The more you have this electricity, yes, little by little, you make your profit. But when you feel you want to make your profit within the shortest time possible, and you also don't believe in these prepaid meters, you want to do estimated bills, you just believe, okay, trust newspapers. We don't need to give you what you call prepaid meter. We just come and negotiate. So some people will believe in cutting corner, will negotiate with you instead of this bill of 10 million you owe us. My brother, we can carry the rest ahead, bring 4 million. 500,000 goes into that man's pocket, and the rest goes to the company, government coffers. It's just not it. Pay as you go. Do it the way of these telecommunication companies. The more you talk, the more your units go, and so be it. So we expect that government should also be firm. If these people invest and generate electricity, we must, government, when I say we, I mean every Nigerian, we must make these distribution companies to take this light, distribute to every nook and cranny, and so be it, so that we don't waste this electricity that we preciously need. Without electricity, many places will just crumble. And why is it that even in some big hospitals, national hospital, you see that once operations are supposed to start, you on a generator and put the electricity on a standby.
Okay, now when it comes to epileptic power supply, this has been an issue that has been ongoing for years, even before I was born. Do you see a Nigeria where the power is stable in future, or as soon as possible?
Hussein, I see. If you get a government at the point that now says, look, from today, no more importation of generators. Why is it that ministries, government agencies, people will rush to bring very big power plants?
There's power in it.
Because there is something in it. If we all pay, let us face it. If at the point President Buhari said, look, this importation of rice is too much, why should some other nations be making it so much in terms of rice export to Nigeria? We are spending hard currency importing rice when we have all these the areas where we can farm, improve rice here and there, So why should we be importing? At the point, he said, people are saying we are dying, we are doing this. Okay, let us learn to produce what we can consume. In the same way, if we have a government that will wake up and say, see, we give this year, anybody importing generator set, this is the tax. Rather, go and pay your bills. Then we ensure that any light generated, it is evacuated, transmitted, and sold to the people. And once sold, of course, it's going to be pay as you consume. If you don't pay, your light goes off because somebody is controlling it over somewhere. You know, so that is the thing. And if you also check the tension, the cables, I mean the poles being used, if you use concrete, the better. But when you begin to use the thick tree, termites, bushfire will always burn this thing and they fall off. And you begin to again invest so much trying to protect or servicing those infrastructure. Do the materials that will last. Concrete poles will be the thing instead of these trees that we have. So I foresee that it's going to be good. What it takes is one minister, one president saying, look, we've had enough of this importation. After, if you look at how many families are dying because of generator fumes, I mean, it's just not it. If you look at how much we are spending, it's just not it, not worth it. Do you look at the environment today? Every smoke that goes, it says a lot about what is happening in the sky. You're melting the ozone layer. And today, see the seesaw of rain. Rain is going so fast these days.
Climate change.
So climate change, we should be able to play our own role too.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts with us on this segment. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you very much. My pleasure once again.
All right.